Hello, welcome to the FB podcast, the final FB Premier League show as it used to be called, but not anymore because we're too inconsistent. Um, we are going to be predicting the final day of the Premier League and therefore the final table. I can't wait. Can you wait, Matt?
I cannot wait.
Oh my God. Now, what are the scores from the previous 2 weeks? Oh,
What you mean? Our scores, our
yeah, but I was going to
predictions.
say before you do that, I'm just going to say if anyone is watching, put your predictions in the comments right now. Like pause the video now while me and Matt just look blindly for the screen for like 3 seconds. Hopefully you've now done your predictions and you're ready to watch because we do this show all the time, not every week, all the time, and we never get any
Sometimes.
interaction. So we're just really desperate for some social interaction. But no, anyway, Matt, tell us the scores.
Okay. So last episode was last week. There was a double game week, so we predicted 2 weeks of fixtures. Before that 2 weeks of fixtures, scores were 115, 122. And so first game of the week after was Chelsea Spurs. That was a midweek one, I think. I went 3-2 Chelsea. You went 3-1 Chelsea. Score was
2-0 Chelsea.
2-0? Yeah, so both got a point on that one. That was a good game for the Villa. At the time, obviously not knowing
Well, yeah,
what
we
would
were recording that episode towards the end. It overlapped with the kickoff of the Chelsea game, and I remember saying, "Oh yeah, they're like dominating."
Yeah, shit, we need to.
Right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean Tottenham are just on a really bad run. Chelsea are on a pretty good form. So that's how that went down. Then it was Luton Everton. I can't remember if this was a. I think Everton were safe by this point, weren't they? But it was a big game for Luton.
Yeah, something, or I think maybe this game was the official. They're mathematically safe now, but
Yeah.
what was it? Everton 1-0 win.
It was 1-1.
1-1.
You got the correct on this one.
Woo!
Yeah, 2 points. I went for a Luton win, 2-1, so I didn't get the point. Luton were lucky, to be fair. Like as you'd expect, they were really pushing for the win because they really needed it. They were the two teams and should have probably won it, but they just couldn't get the ball in the net. Typical Luton, I suppose, a bit gutting, but yeah,
side, I think.
pretty much, yeah. So they didn't get the win. You got 2 points, and wasn't enough for Luton. Arsenal Bournemouth. I went 3-1 Arsenal. You went 4-1 Arsenal. Arsenal won 3-0. So yeah, pretty close to some correct scores there. But
yeah, not far.
Yeah, standard result, really, isn't it? Arsenal winning everything on the run in.
Let's not review too much because I think we'll have a lot to say about each fixture that we're going to predict and each team. So we might as well fly through the scores and then.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. So what was next? Brentford, Fulham. I've got written down. That was 0-0.
0-0.
I went 2-1 Brentford. You went 3-2 Fulham. 0-0. So yeah.
Fair.
Pretty off. Burnley Newcastle. You went for a draw. I went for a Newcastle 2-1 win. Newcastle won 4-1, so I got the point there. You got nothing. I suppose going for the draw on the basis that Burnley were needing a result. But they were too shit.
Solid, but yeah, they fucked it.
Yeah. Sheffield United Forest. This was a big game for Forest. And they got the win 3-1. 3-1 Forest.
Oh, 3-1.
Yeah, I went for a draw for some bizarre reason. You went for a Sheffield United win for some even more bizarre reason.
I don't know, yeah. I have to, bit of,
yeah, in hindsight, it was a big game for Forest. But,
I don't know.
Yeah. City Wolves. I went 3-0. You went 4-1. What was the score? Was it 4-0? 5-1. 5-1. Yeah, Haaland scored 4 goals or something.
I
I
thought I
think.
got that one right. I was banking on a bonus point there.
No, you went 4-1. Pretty close. Brighton Villa. Well.
Let's pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, let's just say we both went for the Villa win.
Yeah.
It did not happen. Then Chelsea West Ham. So this was the double game week. Chelsea won final. Fucking hell.
5-0.
Yeah, you went for a Chelsea win 2-1. I went for a draw 2-all. So a bit enough. Liverpool Spurs 4-2. I went 3-1. You went 4-1. Pretty close.
So close to these bonus points, but just not.
Yeah.
No
And
cigar.
Palace United. I went 2-0 Palace. You went 3-0 Palace. It was 4-0 Palace.
Fuck's sake.
I mean, I'm pretty proud that we both went for a solid Palace win. That was quite a good call.
Yeah,
But
well, the form they were in and the quality of them and Man United.
you could see it coming, yeah.
No-brainer.
So that was that week. I finished that week on 121. You finished that week on 130. You got 2 points more than me that week. Then last week, was this another double game week? I think.
I think it was.
Some teams, yeah. Yeah. So where did that start? God knows. Right, yeah, Fulham City. I went 2-1 City. You went 3-1 City. They won 4-0. Bournemouth Brentford. I went for a 3-1 Bournemouth win. You went for a 2-1 Bournemouth win. Bournemouth lost 2-1.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, I remember watching the highlights. A bit of surprising one. Bournemouth just went at it for whatever reason. Everton Sheffield United. You went for the 1-0 Everton win. If you remember, you were pretty confident about that. And yeah, that happened. Called that spot on. I went for a 3-0 Everton, so still got the point, but you got the 2 points. Newcastle Brighton. Both went for a strong Newcastle win at home, which you would have expected, but they drew that game.
Strange.
Bit of a bizarre result, yeah. But
I think Brighton have just picked up a bit at the end of the season.
They have a little bit, and Newcastle's still got a bit of unpredictability about them. They're still quite their lineup still quite sporadic and players in and out.
Don't get me wrong, Brighton are still definitely sort of, they're inconsistent and they're not what they were. But I think they've just gotten away from that feeling of kind of stagnant, just abyss. You know what I mean? Like where it's just like no one really cares anymore.
Yeah. Well, it was the bloody Villa result that did it, wasn't it? Really.
Probably.
Like when you're in a bit of a funk like that, you just need a good result at home to get you back on it. And
yeah, absolutely. I think my
Spurs Burnley. I think you got this one right. Yeah, you did. 2-1 Spurs. Oh. I went 3-2, so still got the point. But you got the 2 points. Have you frozen?
Right, yeah.
Have I frozen?
Fucked up for a bit there. If you could go back about 30 seconds.
Hello?
We good now?
No, you've gone. Hello? He's back.
Yes, right. Yeah, if you could go back like 2 fixtures.
Well, we were talking about Newcastle Brighton.
No, yeah, we did that. Yeah.
And then that was the last one. Spurs Burnley is where we were at.
Okay.
You got correct score, you bastard. 2-1 Spurs. I went 3-2 Spurs, so I still got the point. West Ham Luton. We both went 3-2 Luton, but I think West Ham won that pretty comfortably.
No, wasn't it like 3-1?
Yeah. 3-1 West Ham, yeah. I mean, West Ham are so unpredictable, aren't they? Kind of impossible at the moment. And I think Luton might have mathematically been down at this point as well. Because with this round,
they're still not mathematically down.
They're still not now.
No, if Forest lose heavily and they get a decent win, they stay up.
Oh, yeah, it's goal difference. I mean, what's that? 12 goal difference, but you never know.
Who's Forest playing? They're
Don't know.
away to Burnley, so maybe not.
Oh,
Luton are
yeah,
home to Fulham. Could happen. They beat Brighton 4-0.
could happen. Yeah, I mean, yeah, wouldn't rule it out. Well, you probably can. But yeah, no, this round of fixtures, we were like going in a bit blind because we were predicting a week in advance, which makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I suppose we predicted it based off what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah,
Wait, so what points are we on now?
121, 130. What you mean for this week?
Oh no, after the ones you just said.
Total is 124 to 135.
Okay. 11
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, it's not looking good for me for the last one round of fixtures. It's going to be tough.
You're gonna have to predict all like 4-1, 3-2, 5.
Just gonna have to get them all spot on. I mean, if you get, what is it? Is it how many fixtures? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fixtures. So that's 20 points if you get all the correct scores, and then maybe a couple extra for bonuses. And if you get, 3, and you have a crap week, and I get most of the correct scores, I mean, the chances. But you never know.
Never know. I could even the odds for you.
Game was Wolves Palace. You went for a Wolves win. You went 3-2 Wolves. I went 1-1, and Palace won 3-1.
Fair play to him.
Yeah. I don't know why neither of us went for a Palace win, really, considering we both just predicted them to beat United. But I guess quite an unpredictable fixture, isn't
it? They're unpredictable, but
yeah,
kind of just like decent.
Yeah. Forest Chelsea. 3-2 Chelsea was the score. I went for a Forest win. You went for a draw. So yeah, I mean, I guess the thinking is that Forest are fighting for their lives and Chelsea are unpredictable, but probably that's one of them where knowing the result of the last week would have maybe changed our opinions on that one. So yeah, no points there. United Arsenal. I went for a 2-1 Arsenal win. You went for a United win, so I got a point here. You got nothing. So I've clawed one back.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Silly one.
Villa Liverpool. We both went for the Villa win. I mean, the Villa win was on the cards. Really, we should have won the game, but
probably.
Oh well.
Yeah, if you take out luck, we probably win the game.
I mean, that Diego Carlos fucking chance.
Yeah. Take a goal off them and you give us an extra and we win that 4-2 and it looks like a really good game. But
yeah. Anyway, Spurs City, both went City win. I went 4-2. You went 2-1. So both just got a point. Brighton Chelsea. I went for a Brighton win. You went for a draw. Chelsea won 2-1. No points. And finally, Man United Newcastle. I went for a United win. You went for a Newcastle win. So I clawed another point back here.
No. What is it, 9 now?
So now it is 127 to 137.
10. Okay.
10. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I've given you an extra point.
Yeah,
it is 9. Yeah, I was thinking something's wrong there. So yeah, 9. Doable.
Give me here, mate.
Right. I might do an accumulator for the last week. I might put like £5 on my
that could be
on my scores. Yeah.
I mean, after me getting a few correct scores, I'm interested.
I think it'll be fun for the last week. Yeah. I'm also definitely putting money on Watkins to score because he's going to get that 20 goals. He's going to want that 20 goals.
Yeah. He'll do anything for that.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, let's do it. So first game is Arsenal-Everton. Well, they're all at 4:00. They're all the same time. So, but yeah, Arsenal-Everton.
So Arsenal, all the pressure is mounted on Arsenal. What is the points difference? I've got the fixtures up in front of me. You put the league up in front of you. Let's sort of have a double view here.
Okay. So
So
Arsenal on 86, City on 88. So, but Arsenal have a one better goal difference. So a win for Arsenal and anything but a win for City wins Arsenal the league.
yeah, pretty much. Oh my god, what a big fixture. Are they going to bottle it? Well,
I
you
don't think
imagine
Arsenal
no.
are going to bottle it. I think I've got my prediction already. 2-0 Arsenal. I'm going to go.
Okay. But it's one of those days. I'm so close to saying 1-0 Everton.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. That would be good.
Um, do you know what? I'll go for 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay. So
There's
Arsenal
so
aren't.
much flying around in my head there. So many scorelines. But then I just had like this image of like Peter Drury just being like, they tried with all their might today, Arsenal, but they just got beat by the better team or something. Not
Yeah.
beat by the better team, but like just as in City, they just couldn't keep up,
Yeah. Yeah.
sort of thing.
Well,
Him
the
saying
only
something
reason.
poetic about how Arsenal did everything they could except win it.
Yeah. I mean, it has kind of been that season for them, really, hasn't it? The only game they've lost in this calendar year has been the Villa game. I think
Yeah.
they drew another game, and apart from that, they've won every single game. So, to be fair to them, they have played in a really, really amazing season. The only reason they're not winning the league probably is the fact that they're coming up against City, who are just like the best team
Yeah,
ever.
absolutely.
But so yeah, the only way an Arsenal not winning the game would be exciting, really, is if City didn't win their game, because then that would be absolutely ridiculous. If City didn't win their game and it was all in Arsenal's hands, and then they didn't win, that would be a proper bottle job. So, do you think City will win their game?
Yeah, it's almost a statistical impossibility that West Ham do anything here. Like Rodri's playing, that's already you done. Foden and De Bruyne are going to be playing. Haaland's playing. Who's beating that?
Yeah, and they're all firing as well. It's Haaland had a bit of a sticky patch where he wasn't scoring, but now he's right back on it. Foden's on form.
5-0.
Yeah, De Bruyne's back. Yeah, what can you say?
I mean, there might be pressure on it. There might be a bottle job in there somewhere, but they've
Well,
proven that they're not over the years.
was it the year before last where we played City on the last day
Yeah,
and
we were 2-0 up
City
or
needed to
something.
win? Yeah, and they won 3-2.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's not like they're not susceptible to the pressure. But even when the pressure is on and they go a couple goals down, they've got precedent of bringing it back in the last 10 minutes. Like so, yeah. There's kind of no situation, even if West Ham take the lead in the game. There's no situation where I see City like not getting the game back. So
do you think it's good for the league?
City winning 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Um,
Would you prefer Arsenal to win it, or would you
yeah,
prefer
yeah.
Liverpool win it?
I prefer Arsenal just for variety and Arsenal's a younger squad. It's not like they're underdogs or anything, but there is less money in their squad, and they have played really well. I feel like it's kind of harsh to have a team that's been as consistent as Arsenal have been, and to have them win nothing. It sort of feels a bit unjust, but it's just because there's not been the opportunity because City have just got such a grip on it. So I think it would be. I don't know about good for the league because at the end of the day, City are an incredible team, and that's also good for the league. And it's good that the league's competitive. It's good that at least it's going down to the final day. So I don't know if it's good for the league if Arsenal won, but I would prefer Arsenal to win just for the sake of. I think they kind of deserve it because they played so well, really. But
Yeah.
then City obviously deserve it as well because they're fucking brilliant. So
I think it's going to be good for league, but in a very indirect way. So I think people seeing City win the league again, making it a record, it's going to give so much more recognition to them, even on top of what they've got, just because of how good now Foden and De Bruyne look, just how good this team looks. I think it's going to draw so many more fans in, and then whatever time it is in 2025 or something, when they finally get kicked out of the league, all those fans are going to need somewhere to go. And who's going to be top of the league then? Well, could be us. Like, it could be us, you know? So I'm getting a little giddy and a little excited and thinking of the possibilities. I certainly don't want Arsenal to win it because Arsenal fans in general have annoyed me for the last couple of years.
Yeah,
Not the ones I know in person, maybe a couple of them.
I know it's never the ones you know in person, is it? It's always the
Well, there is a
fucking
couple of them that I'm a little bit annoyed. Not annoyed at, but like I think their opinions are not great. But there's one I sit next to in the office who's a good lad. So there you go. He's off scot free. But yeah, they've annoyed me, so I don't want them to win. Um, I think Liverpool. I would have preferred to have seen them win it.
I would like to see Liverpool to win the league as well over City. I would have preferred either. I think the thing with Arsenal fans being annoying is that I think that's also quite good for the game because I think that those kind of like rivalries and stuff between fans is what football's all about, really. And the fact that Arsenal fans make you a bit annoyed is kind of a good thing. Whereas with City fans, it's like I'm completely apathetic to City. I couldn't care less either way if they're good or if they're shit.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter to me. And I think that's kind of just a bit boring for the game. Whereas I think, it's good that Arsenal fans are so passionately irritating
yeah,
because, that kind of passion is what football's all about. And with City, it's just all a bit like, meh. So, yeah, I think I think it'd be better. I'd prefer Arsenal to win it, but I mean, they might. We just need West Ham to do a job.
they ain't doing a job, mate.
David Moyes' last game. What about David Moyes' last game romance? What about that?
Hang on, I need to catch up on this. David Moyes, right, has been what is it? Are they bringing someone else in? I know they were discussing
I
bringing
think,
someone else in.
what's his name? Lopetegui.
Oh, Lopetegui.
I kind of thought that was confirmed, but like, there's not been an official announcement. But either way, I don't think Moyes has been sacked. I think he's just
Is
parted
his
ways with
contract
the
up
club
yet?
or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of like a mutual agreement
Oh,
kind
right.
of thing. Definitely wasn't sacked, but
I think it'll be good for the team long term. Like they
yeah,
always seem limited just by the style of play.
yeah, I think it's one of those. It's come to its natural kind of conclusion. Like he's been good for the team, kind of a bit like Dean Smith at Villa. He was good for the team, progressed the team quite well, and then kind of came to a natural limit where it didn't seem like they were going to go anywhere. And then at that point, even if the manager doesn't necessarily deserve to be moved on, they probably need to be if the team wants to keep progressing. So
Mm.
yeah, it probably will be a good thing for West Ham. Lopetegui's a good shout as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Um,
been the Spain manager, he's been Real Madrid manager, I think.
yeah,
Obviously,
he's definitely
Barcelona.
good, and he's just kind of more forward-looking in his philosophy about football. Like he's more in line with the way football's going, whereas Moyes does kind of have a bit of an old school approach, which
Mm.
seems to be getting left behind a little bit.
Yeah, and
Um,
there are good defensive teams that win games, and there have been throughout history. But he's just not learned how to really harness that kind of play style. He's just always gone for the classic. Oh, let's sit in like a deep 4-4-2 and just make sure we don't concede, and then see if we can
yeah,
press them on the break. It's just not like it's fun to watch sometimes if you got good players, which they have, but it's just not sustainable.
yeah, that's the thing. It's a sustainability thing, really, isn't it? It can work really well for a season or two, and then it does become kind of tiresome, and you can see that it's not really going anywhere. So anyway, we'll do City predictions.
I'm 5-0.
5-0.
Yeah, I'm sticking to it. 5-0. I'm winning with
Okay.
bonus points.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I'm going to go 3-0. Probably should be going for like the bonus as well, but
I think there'll be like two early goals, and that'll just sink West Ham. City will take their foot off the gas, and then sort of second half they'll just kind of start rolling them in.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I very, very much could see that happening. Do you think there's any scenario where it's even tight? Do you think there's any scenario West Ham get a goal or City like just about
Obviously
get over
West
the
Ham
line?
can get a goal, and obviously there's a scenario where it can be tight. But I just don't predict. Like I sort of see the chances of that happening um, in this sort of moment that we're in right now, not necessarily the wider sort of time period of the league season or the last few years, but at least right now, just how City are, I just don't see them mentally wavering at all.
Yeah, yeah,
De Bruyne has been probably the best player in the league for the second half of the year, like bar maybe Foden maybe.
probably Foden. Yeah,
If well probably I wouldn't even say Foden because
probably,
De Bruyne's had I think 4 goals and 10 assists in 17 appearances in the league this entire season because he was only here for the second half and he's still with that output is ridiculous. 14 goals
yeah,
and assists,
man. Yeah,
which is like that's I think that's not a lot less than what he would generally get year in year out in previous years, and he's
pretty
done
much.
that in
Yeah,
half a season. So
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
yeah. So yeah, City big win. Pretty unanimous on that. Um, where do we go next?
Let's go Brentford
Um,
Newcastle.
Brentford Newcastle. So Newcastle have a lot to play for here. Brentford have nothing to play for. So Newcastle, seventh in the league, 57 points, better goal difference than Chelsea. So if they win and Chelsea lose, they can finish sixth. Also, if Newcastle lose and Man United draw or win, Newcastle drop down to eighth. So pretty much all to play for Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, is Guimaraes out or is he still in the
Um,
team? I think
I thought he played against United.
yeah. No, yeah, no. For some reason I thought he might have been injured.
Yeah, Guimaraes is
Um,
back. The team is Trippier came back as well against United.
okay.
They've got some centre back problems, but like Guimaraes is in, Gordon Isak, yeah, Trippier's back. Almiron came on. Shah also came on against United, so he's potentially back. Joe Linton came on, so the team's looking at back a bit more full strength. Um, and yeah, Brentford don't have anything to play for at all.
Yeah, but
So
that's what they do. They don't have anything to play for, and they just fuck with you because they can. They do it.
yeah, I
They
mean
do it
that's the
for
thing.
us.
You can't rule them out for that reason. Like they got a good win against Brentford away last week, so
Mm.
Bournemouth away. Sorry.
I'm gonna go 2-2.
Whoa,
Desmond.
crazy, crazy. I'm going for the Newcastle win. I think, yeah. I mean, maybe it's a bit romantic and naive, but I just think the fact that they've got to get a result will do it for them.
Do you know what?
Supporting Villa in the last
I'm
few weeks.
taking Isak out for Haaland in the final game week.
Oh yeah,
That's my transfer.
I think I took Isak out for Watkins because I haven't had Watkins the last few weeks, so I
I
got
haven't
him in.
taken Watkins out for a single game this entire season.
Yeah, yeah, I shouldn't have
Yeah.
taken him out. It was that was a bad move because he got a few goals in the time I took him out. But yeah, I'll go for a Newcastle win. I'm gonna go 3-1. I think it'll be pretty. I think they'll be pretty comfortable.
Fair, fair.
Um,
Liverpool Wolves.
Liverpool
Two
Wolves.
teams with nothing to play for and
Yeah,
really entertaining. Um, I could see this being a big scoreline.
Klopp's last game, isn't it?
Mm.
Oh,
Four
yeah.
two.
I can see a load of goals in this. 4-2. I'm going to go 6-2 Liverpool.
Sheesh. Do you know what? I'll
Don't know
give you
where
an
the
extra
six
bonus
is.
point if you get that. If that comes good, you can have 4 points.
All right, I'll look forward to it. Yeah, I think, yeah. Either way, whatever happens, Liverpool are going to get a load of goals, aren't they? They're going to be full on party mode, all out attack. They want to be getting all the goals they possibly can.
Yeah,
Probably a bit vulnerable at the back as a result. So a couple of Wolves goals, but yeah, it'll be a good game to watch. That.
definitely, definitely. Unfortunately, we're going to have another game to watch. That's going to be even better.
Yeah,
Let's do that at the end because we want to do a bit of a Villa update as well. So,
yeah, we'll do that last.
Chelsea Bournemouth.
Chelsea are at home.
They are. Chelsea are at home. Bournemouth aren't in best form now. Chelsea are on and up.
No,
Sick.
Yeah,
They've got something to play for, but I feel like they've got no pressure on them because they've been mid-table for almost the entire season, and now all of a sudden they have a position to play with. It's kind of like when we were on an upturn at the end of last year. It was just there was nothing stopping that momentum.
yeah. There's no
Us being
expectation.
the
It's like they've got
underdog with
nothing
no
to lose.
expectation. Yeah. So I can
Uh,
see that. Yeah, definitely a Chelsea win. I think
yeah,
3-1 for me.
fair. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think it'll be a comprehensive Chelsea win, like comfortable. But I think Bournemouth probably will score. Like Chelsea's still kind of dodgy at the back, and uh, hmm, maybe I'll go 2-1 Chelsea.
Not too comfortable.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're still Chelsea, aren't they?
Yeah.
They still sort of flap a bit in attack. I've got Jackson in my fantasy team, and he was so frustrating last night because he just yeah. He's been kind of better recently compared to the start of the season, but his decision making in the final third is just like really really awful.
Yeah. No.
Um, so
Luton, Fulham.
yeah, Brighton. Oh,
Luton, Fulham.
Luton, Fulham. So yeah, Luton could stay up if they win by like 10 goals.
I think it'll be probably like 4-1, something like that.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think Luton will put everything into this. Carlton Morris and what is it, Adebayo?
Adebayo, yeah.
Elijah Adebayo are going to be just on fire. Ross Barkley's going to score a screamer. And it's going to be a big party where everyone's like, "Come on, let's do it." For what even is their ground called? Like the York or something?
Shit, I can't remember. Something Road, I think.
Who knows? But anyway, they're going to do it.
Unless,
They're going to have a big old party, and even if they go down, they'll still have a big party. I think just for what they've achieved this year, the kind of
yeah.
memories they've given Forest fans, Luton fans.
I suppose they have given Forest some memories as well.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, part of me saying it's going to be like 1-1. Part of me saying because Fulham are just a better team. Part of me is just thinking, it'll just be a bit of a. They just won't be able to beat Fulham because Fulham are better.
I feel like Fulham sometimes struggle against really physical sides that just hoof it in the box over and over again. They tend to be a little more effective against other sides that like to play and like to keep the ball because that's one manager I really appreciate because Marco Silva still plays a fairly defensive style of football, but still manages to sort of keep it a little bit transitional, a little bit sort of intricate, and it still wins games with limited resources. So it's a really fun club to support and a nice club to watch play football. To be fair, and I always enjoy beating them. So.
Except when they beat us and get Steven Gerrard sacked. I mean, that's another reason to like Fulham, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what did you say? 4-1.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4-1 Luton. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be a bit of a party because like they'll probably be resigned to the fact that they're going down now, considering the goal difference. But yeah, either way, they're going to want a big send off to the Premier League. But yeah, part of me is saying 1-1. Maybe I'll go 2-1 Luton. Maybe they'll scrape a late goal and it'll be buzzing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, who else do we go for? I mean, we've got
Go Burnley Forest.
and Villa. We're going last. So yeah, we've got Sheffield United, Tottenham. We've got Burnley, Forest, Brighton, Man United. Yeah, let's go. Let's go Sheffield, Tottenham.
Okay. Well, obviously, worst team in Premier League history against quite a good Spurs team. Good Spurs team in terrible form though.
They're not the worst team in Premier League history. I thought that Derby were worse.
Points wise, they're not, but I think they've conceded the most goals
Right. Okay.
ever. And they're not far off the points Derby points total either.
What was Derby's 11 points?
Yeah, 11 or 12 or something, which is quite a lot worse to be fair. yeah, maybe worst team in history is harsh, but so yeah, Spurs obviously massive favourites. The only interesting thing is that we've both gone Chelsea win, and if Spurs lose,
I think Spurs are not going
Chelsea
to lose.
will finish fifth.
I think the toxicity is going to absolutely leak out from Postecoglou this week. He's just going to be so pissed off. Everyone's going to be so
Yeah,
upset with him. And
I
then
would love that.
Sheffield United, who know they're down, they know they've been down for a while. It's their last game. They're going to have a party, I think. They're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna like smack Tottenham, but I think they're gonna do a little bit like they did at Newcastle, where they would just kind of all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, all over Newcastle, and no one really knew what was going on. And then suddenly, everyone realised, wait, it is just Sheffield United. If we just run that way and shoot, we'll probably score. Sorry, yeah, I never even said a scoreline.
I was waiting for it.
Let's go with 2-1 Sheffield United.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I like that result. I just
because we hate Spurs.
I can't really see it, but I do get what you mean with the toxicity. I mean, Spurs are on a bad run. Postecoglou's been getting increasingly pissed off with all these videos of him shouting from the touchline, and then that was that weird press conference the other day.
Well, yeah, do you know what he said? He said the fans are basically weak and
weak mentality.
The players were weak. Apparently, he took a dig at the recruitment side as well. Like no one's like the fans aren't going to want to cheer for him. They'll probably, if anything, boo him. Then, the backroom staff aren't going to be happy. The players aren't going to be happy, and they have off days at the best of times. So.
Yeah, I do like it. I still, they're still a good team, and Sheffield United are really, really bad. But I'm kind of wanting to go for the Sheffield United win just because. No, I'm not going to do it. You've gone for the Sheffield United win. If they get it, I'll be happy for you, and I'll be happy for Sheffield United and happy for Spurs. Bottom it.
I think you have to go 4-1 Spurs.
I can't put that now because you've said it.
Where are you going to put it?
I'm going to go 3-1 Spurs. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
You got to go
3-0 Spurs.
You got to the bonus point. You need the bonus point.
Do I? Yeah, I kind of do need it. 9 points. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Because that's not 9 points you've got to get. That's 9 points you've got to make up. Remember.
Yeah. No, I'm sticking with it. You're not going to get any points this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, even with my City win, my Arsenal win?
Your City win and your Arsenal win might be your only 2 points, and then your Villa win, obviously.
Well, you never know. I might not predict that.
It's not looking good, actually.
Okay.
Maybe I'll change it to 5-0 Sheffield United.
That's interesting. I can say that.
It'll be funny. I'm going to do it. Hold the phone.
Hold every phone.
I'm 5-0 Sheffield United. If I'm going to get a bonus point, it's going to be for Sheffield United. It's not going to be for Spurs. 5-0. It's going to happen.
Fair.
Anyway,
just looking at the league, and other than the teams that are called United, only Sheffield, Nottingham, and the Manchester clubs have like shortened names.
Right.
Whereas all the rest have full. Weird that. Is Sheffield really that's like difficult to put? Too many letters?
I think people get upset when you just put Sheffield.
No, not like you'd still put Sheffield United, but they've just put Sheff United.
Oh, I see, but nobody else is shortened.
But there's just like so much more space. Obviously, Man City, Man United is just you don't argue with that because it's been around for God knows how long now, and it's just been what people call them in this country. But yeah, interesting. Anyway, I've gone to boring stuff, and we need to.
Interesting is an interesting word to use for that. Yeah. So what are we doing? Burnley Forest.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, another kind of interesting one because there is a possibility that Forest go down if Luton get a big win and they get a big loss away to Burnley. But do you see it?
Nah, I think I see fairly unconvincing 2-2.
Fair play. Yeah, I was going to go for a draw. I was going to go 1-1, but since I need the points, I can't really do that.
I think you should go for a 3-2 Forest.
No, mate. I'm going to go for a 4-1 Burnley. I am going to go for the big win. So that's -3 on Forest's goal difference. So then Luton, how many goals would Luton need? So the difference is currently 12. So fucking hell, yeah, that's quite a lot of goals. Yeah, no, okay, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think I mean I could definitely see a Burnley win here. Maybe 4-1's a bit ambitious, but let's do it for the bonus point. And then Brighton Man United.
I want to go back to Burnley for a second.
Oh, go on.
What, not for the fixture, but for just them and their league season. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. I suppose disappointing, probably.
Because a lot of people had Burnley to kind of not stun the league, but really surpass the expectations of previous promoted clubs. Because it's the first time I think we've seen a club come up, look like they're ready to spend, look like they have already kind of identified the trodden path that Brighton and Brentford have done, and look like they've got an exciting manager who wants to play exciting football, who's got exciting players, and they're going to come into the league and potentially do something. It's like the first time we've ever really seen that. Most of the time, even when you think a good team is coming up, kind of like when Brentford came up, it was still never like, oh, this team's definitely going to stay up. You know, this team's going to really, take over the league. It was more like, oh, it would be nice to see a team like this actually in the Premier League for once. But yeah, they've just completely failed.
Yeah, disappointing. I mean, yeah, like you say, of the promoted teams, they were definitely the one that most people had staying up, if any. They won the championship with like over 100 points. Did spend quite a lot of money in the championship, and then, like you say, we're ready to spend in the summer. Yeah, disappointing. I guess maybe it's probably an inexperienced thing. Their team was very young, and their manager, while looking exciting, is inexperienced still. Yeah, kind of disappointing. It just never really clicked for them. I think it was kind of like waiting for it to click. They were sticking to their style of play. They were, early on the season, they were kind of losing games, but they were playing well. And you're thinking at some point this is going to change for them, because it usually does when teams are in that kind of situation where they're at least getting the performances right, if not getting the results.
Yeah, they got a few decent performances, but never really put the ball in. Yeah, I distinctly remember there being a game against United where they looked like they should have really, really done something, but just completely failed to put the ball in the net.
Yeah,
I think
I suppose that
they'll come back up next year, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you see happening for them?
I think they come back up next year if they keep hold of company. I think there'll definitely be perhaps one or two player sales. I think they'll make more signings. They're a profitable club. They have parachute payments obviously coming. There's a year of Premier League revenue that maybe they don't have it all left after the signings they've made, but they were good signings. They were young signings. Like, Aaron Ramsey's proved himself already in the Championship a little bit. So the likes of him, Odebear perhaps, Lyle Foster, what's it, Adzuni something?
Yeah.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, I mean, quite a lot of that team won. It's the same team that they won the championship really convincingly with. So there's no reason, I suppose, to think that they wouldn't be able to do it again. It's just whether they.
Well.
Yeah, they've got. They have just got a good team. Quite a lot. They didn't lose many players actually.
Kind of reminds me maybe a little bit of Southampton's team when they went down.
Yeah, I was thinking that kind of young, um, but like yeah, definitely very good enough to compete in the championship. I suppose it's whether if they do get promoted again, it's whether they change their approach. Um, you'd presume they would a little bit, but I think maybe
I don't think they will. I think they'll just keep trying to build because
yeah,
it's one of those things with Brentford, like with Brighton. They believe in a certain
part of
way,
the process.
yeah, and they just have to keep at it and keep rolling the dice until it pays off. And
Yeah,
one day, if they keep doing what they're doing, it probably will pay off.
yeah, yeah, yeah. At the same time, it's like when you see Luton doing quite a lot better than them, you do kind of think they've had a bit of a shocker, really.
Mm. Do you know what? Outside of Aston Villa, I think we've covered Burnley more than any other team in the league this year.
Yeah,
Like,
certainly earlier on in the season, anyway, because they were kind of in many ways they were the most interesting promoted side because you're thinking they're the ones with the most potential and they're the ones playing a kind of good brand of football and they won the championship so convincingly.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, they were an interesting team to talk about early in the season. I feel like we've not covered them as much later on because they did just completely peter out.
and we also did specifically say to stop talking about Burnley.
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah.
Weird team
Anyway,
to get obsessed with.
let's stop talking about Burnley.
Yeah. So what we got then? We
um,
got Brighton, Man United, Palace, Villa. So
yep,
Brighton, Man United. What an interesting fixture.
it is. Yeah, Brighton just starting to kind of look a little bit better, and they're the home team last game of the season, so there's always that kind of element. But Man United still have quite a lot to play for in terms of league position, also like the manager's position, a lot of the players' positions as well at United. Like they've kind of
Mm.
all got it to prove.
They're not in great form.
Not great, but I mean they did the win against Newcastle was good. Um,
It was at home, to be fair.
yeah,
I mean, Brighton's form is just as poor, to be honest.
I think if you take the kind of narratives out of it, um, it's probably like 50-50 really. It's two teams who are not in great form, who have been up and down, who can be good on their day, who can be quite bad on their day. Like if you take all the narratives away from it, it's 50-50. Put the narratives in, you've got Brighton's last game at home, so they're going to want to win that in front of the home fans. And yeah, United have got league position to play for, European places to play for, and the manager has got to win if he's got any hope of keeping his job.
Yeah.
So I think I'm inclined to go for a United win on that basis, probably. But it's really hard to call. Might be a draw. Might be a 3-all.
I think a 2-2 maybe. Another
You've
2-2.
gone for loads of 2-2s this week.
Have I? How many have
Yeah.
I gone for?
Well, 3, which is a lot.
It is. Do you know what? I'm changing it then. 1-0 Brighton.
Oh, okay. I like that you've done that because that means I can go for the draw. I think I'm going to get it's either a United win or a draw for me. I think I might be going for the United win. I'm going to go 3-2 Man United.
Yeah, get that bonus point. Make
Yeah.
it interesting, Matt. Come on. I'm running away with it here.
All right. Get big for your boots. 1 week left, mate. Don't start bragging just yet.
Right. So, do we want to talk about Brighton and Man United?
We've done it. We've done it.
No, like not the game, but the teams.
Well, I think United are kind of interesting with the whole manager thing. Like, do you think Ten Hag leaves? Do you think he's done?
I think United should definitely get rid of him, but Bayern have just basically begged Tuchel to stay, and that was probably the best candidate for them to go out and get.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
what? I didn't see that.
yeah, it's basically because they just keep getting rejected by everyone.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
Weird.
well, I thought he was done.
No. I think it was Romano who came out with a tweet saying that basically they're asked him to stay. Doesn't mean he will stay. Obviously, he could go to
No,
United, could go somewhere like that. I think
United
he's
would be
in a
bad
decent
for him.
job
I
now
think
at
that would be
United.
bad for both of them.
Sorry,
I think United would be a bad move for him and a bad move for United as well.
I think it'd be a good move for United.
Really?
Potentially even a good move for him, to be honest with you, because
Uh,
with Ashworth coming in, um, with Ineos coming in and just it's going to feel like a very big refresh. The talks of a new stadium. I think they'll have a bit of a clear out in summer. Um, I think people know they're ready for a clear out as well, so people will come in from across Europe at cheap prices to take players off them because they know they can get them. Um, yeah, I think there could be a bit of a awe of Chelsea about Man United next season. I think they'll have a similar kind of level of stagnation where they just kind of like Chelsea did. But obviously, I think Chelsea were in a better place when they made the decision to just go crazy and sack everyone and then hire the whole of Brighton, including the playing staff. Um, that was a bit weird, but I think United will probably do something similar. They'll have a real transition year because every year they say they're having a transition year. All they actually do is bring in a different manager and then spend a lot more money on a different set of players, which is like two or three really big players that everyone can kind of tell are going to fix things. Um, so to have new management come in who will change that with proper football analysts making decisions on transfers, I think if they had a good manager in place like Tuchel, they could do something.
Yeah, I just think with Tuchel, he's the kind of manager who he comes in, he's successful for a bit, and then everything falls apart dramatically. He always seems to fall out with the board. He always seems to piss the fans off at some point. I think with him, it would be a bit like when they got Mourinho. They get in a manager who's got a good track record. He has one successful season, and then everything falls apart. I think maybe if they change the structure and stuff, that could be different because the problem at United is not the managers really; it's the structure behind. So if they change the structure, maybe it'll be different. But I think Tuchel's just not a good fit on the basis that he's another one of these managers who comes in, does all right for a bit, and then everything falls apart. I kind of think they should keep Ten Hag, to be honest, which is probably a rare opinion. And if I was a United fan, maybe I'd feel different. But
I feel very differently.
I think he overachieved in his first season, and that's made this season look even worse.
No, mate. They've made themselves look terrible this season. Don't confuse it with last season. Last season they overperformed, yeah, and I think it was largely down to individuals. But this year their numbers have been genuinely awful. They've been just above the relegation zone by expected points.
Yeah, but well, that shows you that expected points is not everything to live and die by.
Yeah, well, obviously it's the quality of the players that change that, right? The point is they play terrible football, but because they've got a few decent players, they dig them out of a hole, right? And it's not an
Yeah,
excuse
but
to
I
like
think
that's the game plan because there's teams at the top of the league who got loads of great players too, but they also have a great game plan, and that's why they're great teams. So the manager, by definition, has turned what is a good set of players into a bad team.
yeah, I don't know. I think their injury problems have been awful. Like especially in their defence. I think if you're being lenient, they've never been able to get a proper structure into their team because their defence and their midfield has been like completely makeshift all year. I think their recruitment is bad, and part of that is to do with the manager because some of his signings haven't worked out. But I think the structure behind him is awful, which makes his job a lot harder than it should be. And I think, yeah, they overperformed last year, which you have to give him credit for. Like he went in last year and he did a really good job based on what people were expecting Man United to do. This year they have been crap, but I think injuries is a factor. It's not an excuse, and they have been bad. But I don't think I kind of think they should just trust the process more and change the structure behind Ten Hag because I think he's still not fully had time to build his team there. You know, they like even when he came in, he was making some of his own signings, but they're also still making these stupid Man United signings, like signing Varane, who has just been injured the entire time. Lisandro Martinez looked like a good signing. That was a Ten Hag signing, but he's just been injured the entire season. Luke Shaw's been injured the whole season. Anthony is a one bad signing, yeah, but I think all of his other signings have actually come good. Hoyland's young and he's looked very promising. I don't know. I think
There's obviously arguments to keep him, and I'm not saying he's the worst manager to ever exist. I just think, no matter what the scenario is behind you, every manager has an opportunity to build a relationship with the players and teach them how he wants them to play. And if you're any good at that with a set of players with that quality, you should be getting, decent results and playing decent football. And, you know, some of the good players at United are performing like shit, and it's literally just those few individuals that are managing to pick themselves up and put in decent performances despite the terrible tactics and the awful team performances. I just think that's what's pulling them through. I just think you you, you just can't do that as a manager and expect to stay in your job.
I think it's harsh. Honestly, I think that's harsh because I
Um,
don't think their team is much better than the teams above them. I think they've potentially got a worse team than all the teams above them in the league currently. In terms of who's actually fit, like I think the recruitment there is the problem.
well, I mean, yeah, you say who's fit, but like our team's been very rotated in midfield and defence.
Yeah, but you could look at our 11 from our last game. It's better than Man United's 11
Yeah.
based on what they can
All right,
currently put.
let's stop talking about United. Fuck United. We disagree. Agree to disagree.
We disagree, but Tuchel, I'm telling you, Tuchel is a terrible shout.
We'll see. I don't know.
Tuchel
He
is a
might go. He might go.
terrible call.
But let's get on to the most important fixture and the most important team, the most important rival to Aston Villa, Crystal Palace. No, I don't know. I just had to say one more thing, and I couldn't think of anything on the spot. But yeah, no, Palace looking like a great side at the moment.
Yeah.
Got that little new manager bounce. Although I say new manager bounce, it's more just not having a shit manager bounce. Um, you know,
Yeah, and they've had all the important players come back as well. Like they were missing their they're kind of one of those teams where most of their 11 is kind of like bleh, and then they've got a few stars. And if the
yeah.
stars are out, they're bloody awful. But the stars
Mateta
are back
really
in.
reminds me of Lukaku at the moment.
Oh, Mateta is sick, man. I love him. I love that kind of player who is just kind of physically absolutely massive, but he's actually technically quite nimble and good with his feet and stuff. I love that kind of striker.
Yeah, almost feels a bit like when Lukaku was there and they had like at Everton, sorry, and they had like Deulofeu and players like that that would feed him,
Mm.
and it just worked so perfectly for him.
It's
But
Benteke, mate. It's not Lukaku. It's Benteke.
well, he's a different player, different player. But yeah, anyway,
I'm just going to
he's
send
just
you a
so
beautiful
smooth. Adam Wharton
Benteke
at the
link.
moment, you called it. To be fair, he's class. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we said in January it's a great signing, the kind of signing we should have made. But I don't think anyone expected him to just be this good so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I saw people like putting him in their Euros squads and stuff.
I don't know about that. I think it's
Yeah,
a little premature.
that'd be a bit hasty, but yeah, he has
Mourinho,
been.
I'm kind of torn on.
Yeah. I think that that would definitely be hasty, but he has been. He's exceeded expectations for sure.
Yeah,
He's been really
100%.
good.
Like, yeah, his progressive passing, his ball carrying, he just looks so comfortable, so composed. Glasner's just trusted him completely, and he's repaid it. It's what makes me think, like, what if we just did a similar thing with a Robin? Somebody like
Mhm.
that. It it could pay off. Just give them the minutes, give them
Yeah,
the trust, and they might shine.
it's just more difficult for us, isn't it? Because like, not to patronise Crystal Palace, but we're in a kind of a more crucial moment at the moment as a
More
club.
easy, yeah.
Like
And
we
yeah,
they can kind of afford to risk those players because they're not going to get relegated, and they're not fighting for European places or whatever. So they've got the space to do that. Whereas, yeah, it's more risky for us. But I see what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of it does make you think. We've got players at the club that, if afforded the time, they could be having a similar kind of progression.
yeah. I
Um,
think as well, you got to look at it as while Unai is a project manager and he's been great at bringing up young talents in the past and sort of giving players time. In the Premier League, it's higher pressure. He's in a job where yes, he has all the resources and time and authority he needs to say let's give some young players a chance. he also has the resources to match his ambition. So he's gonna push and push and push to get
Yeah,
it as soon as he can. Because even if he wants to stay here long term, I think he'll want to set that milestone, set that marker of this is how good we're going to be. This is what I want out of this club before he then starts getting a little more experimental and
mm,
bringing in more young players and trying different things out. I think he just wants to sort of do what he knows. Obviously, he's still innovating. Obviously, he's still creating new tactics for each team that he plays, but he's not, chucking the whole basket out and going, let's bring a whole load of new ideas in or anything like that, which he, not that anyone really does that, but you do see Guardiola every year makes like a very obvious,
yeah,
significant tactical shift in some way,
yeah,
whether it be with the kind of personnel he uses or what. It always changes some way, and I think we might see him try and do those sorts of things. But first, he's just going to have that rush of do what I know and do it well to achieve as soon as possible, because I have the resources, the momentum, and the setup to do it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've got to lay the foundations, haven't you? I think
Mm.
any good manager who's been there and done it knows that you've got to lay the foundation. And I think the thing with Emery is that he's obviously extremely professional and he's got standards. I think that's the key, is that he's got standards and he needs to set the standards first, and then he can see what young players are going to match those standards. But I think, yeah, I feel like Emery's one of those managers where it doesn't matter what your age is, but you've got to meet the standards. It doesn't matter if you're, 30 years old and you've been at the club 10 years and you're a club legend. If you're not meeting the standards, you're not getting in the team. If you're 20 and you've got massive potential, if you're not meeting the standards, you're not getting in the team. It's that kind of thing. And he's kind of still in that phase of setting the standards now. Um,
Yeah,
so
I think
yeah,
as well when he gets a complete squad he wants, and I'm not saying he doesn't have players he wants and he doesn't want the squad that he's got at the moment, but like when his backup centre backs aren't Longley and Chambers, when it's Mings or Hermoso, along with I don't know maybe someone like a Jean Claire Todibo or something, along with Konza, when those are your rotation players as well, players that you can trust, right? You can demand higher standards and you can build on that when you've kind of got players that you're not really sure you ever wanted and maybe you don't know them so well, etc. Um, like you can sort of end up settling for a little bit less on sort of perspective of like the effort put in and how professional they are and the amount of respect they give you, etc. Because they're kind of already settled and they're not playing maybe, and they're just like they're not 100% sold and bought into it. Whereas like with Arteta, in every position he has like two players that fully believe in him that he might have brought into the club and are completely sold and bought into the project. And as we get a couple more years in, you'll probably see that develop more and more. And not to say we'll have the same trajectory as Arsenal, but we could see something similar where as everyone buys in, they all push each other's standards up, and as more quality comes in, the same happens. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, if you look at the stage we're at in terms of the development of a successful club compared to City, Arsenal, Liverpool, we're like 3-4 years behind still. They've had their managers in place for years. Pep had a couple of years at City. Well, first year at City finished fourth.
mm,
Liverpool had a couple of years where they didn't do anything under Klopp. Like we're still in that phase, really. Like you say, we're still in the phase of getting the squad sorted, really. Yeah,
last year was the
Arsenal.
first year Arsenal got Champions League, wasn't it? Yeah,
Uh, yeah, maybe finish. Yeah,
and they've
finish
had like
fifth.
five
Yeah, they
seasons
did.
with
They finished fifth the year before. Yeah,
yeah they've had
yeah,
5 seasons with Arteta.
yeah, yeah. So that's yeah. We're still very much in getting Emery's ideal kind of setup down, and then like you say, when we get to that point where he's got two players in each position, that's when you can start more carefully and more like systematically putting young players into the squad and what have you. But at the moment, it's kind of is making do with a not ideal squad situation still. Um, so yeah. Anyway, tough game at Palace.
Yeah,
Um,
we just got completely sidetracked
yeah, we
and
forgot about
forgetting
the actual fixture
the
for a sec.
predictions and the game
So the
analysis.
game is tough, but I think I messaged you the other day and said that at least the Liverpool result has given me a bit of hope because before that Liverpool game, we were playing pretty crap. Like probably our worst run of the season, really, in terms of performances, anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could see we were leggy, we were not
Yeah,
confident. Like the pressure was building, and we felt hopeless because we couldn't step up because we were just so tired.
yeah.
Everyone's carrying a little knock or an
Gosh,
injury.
yeah. It was
You know,
depressing, wasn't it? It was really depressing because you could see them putting the effort in, but it's just everyone's a little bit off the pace.
yeah.
And you can't blame them because it is just fatigue. It's not like people aren't stepping up. Like you can see them stepping up, but their legs just aren't doing it. You know.
Yeah, we didn't see anywhere near as much rotation earlier on in the season as we thought we were going to see, and it's
Yeah,
led to rotation more towards the end and the middle of the season, where players have dropped out injured, and where people are getting tired, and it's led to perhaps people being rotated in and shifted in games where we ideally wouldn't be, just like the City game, for example, where had we started a couple more senior players that weren't injured or just weren't tired. Especially with the kind of threat that we offered in the first half, it could have been a different game. But with all the youngsters that we started who hadn't been getting game time, and they just had to sort of jump in at the last minute because our squad was so depleted. Um, I'm not saying we would have won that game at all, but you just would have seen certain elements of our game be that little bit marginally better, which could have led to
yeah,
way better results, and maybe we would have got Champions League a little bit earlier.
yeah. But we nailed the Champions League down anyway because Spurs are rubbish. We have got Spurs to thank really because they've been on a terrible run. If they'd played better in the last 6-7 games, like we'd probably be going into this game needing a win. But we don't have that pressure anymore. Probably see a better performance because we won't have the pressure. We'll have had a full week's rest, which we won't have had in a while. Ollie needs a goal to get 20 in a season, which he will absolutely be gunning for. So I'm feeling a lot more hopeful than I was before the Liverpool game. Still going to be tough though. Like I'm still not sort of confident about a win.
I think we might. This might be the first time I'd predict us not to win.
Really, I think I'm going to go for a bit of win because I think I just think the pressure being off will help us. I think the pressure was really getting to us, and I think. Yeah, man. Yeah, Diaby's been so frustrating. Like he's been so good, but he's been so bad. And I'm glad he had a good game against Liverpool.
Him overthinking the big moments.
Yeah,
that is just pressure. That is just sort of being like getting to that level where you're kind of comfortable now, and you're like, well, I should be doing better, and you put too much pressure on yourself, and then you see Leon Bailey doing what he's doing, and it just kind of builds, and you overthink every moment. He's not having quite a Leon Bailey classic, but he's kind of giving that aura of like he's a bit off his confidence. He's overthinking.
You can see him overthinking things. That was the thing with the Leon Bailey Classic. Is like he'd get in the positions and he'd take 4 touches too many because he'd overthink it rather than just playing the pass instinctively. And that's what's happening with Diaby now. Is that he's getting in the right positions and he's kind of doing all the right things until the last moment, and then he's got that moment of doubt, which just comes with a lack of confidence, really.
Yeah, we could see him explode next year with the summer to just.
I hope so. I mean, I saw a thread, and it was about Diaby and whether he'd had a bad season or not. And someone just posted his numbers, and it's like I think 19 goal involvements or something
across all comps. Yeah.
Yeah, and if that's a bad season, which it kind of does feel like in a lot of ways, it feels not like a bad season, but slightly disappointing season because you've seen elements of his potential, but it's not quite got there. But if 19 goal involvements is a bad season, like imagine if he has a good season next year, like that's 25, 30 goal involvements if he kicks on next year. So next year is definitely very exciting for him.
Yeah. You just see, like, I mean, I'm going to very quickly, I know we need to get on to actual score predictions, but like just to jump on FB ref for Moussa Diaby, I bet there's going to be a couple of stats here that really surprise you. I don't even know what I'm about to see, but I'm pretty sure, especially creatively,
let's have a look.
He's gonna show you something that you weren't expecting. Let's have a look. Yeah, assists, 83rd percentile for assists.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is even though he's looked disappointing,
he really plays. His shot creating actions.
Oh yeah.
Expected assists are way up there. Progressive carries way up there. Like, considering the fact he is playing in forward positions, that's not going to. He doesn't play on the wing for us.
No,
Very,
no.
very rarely he's actually out on the wing. So to have these kind of numbers, especially creatively, like, when he came in and we knew he was going to play a false nine, we were like, oh, that's interesting. And we sort of, at the start, I think we kind of saw it as these two strikers that both drift out wide, get in behind, and just create havoc. And it kind of worked for a while because teams did want to play sort of up against us, and try and match us. And then when they realised, shit, this team's pretty damn good, they started sitting back more, and that's when we've seen him have to rely on his creative game, and it's actually been outstanding, to be fair. And he's just unlucky at times. Like, he could have probably had double the assists he's had if, like, Ollie Watkins' finishing was like slightly better.
Yeah, I mean, just that Liverpool game, like he had a really good game in terms of what he did on the pitch, but he just didn't get the kind of rewards for it in terms of goals. But that kind of epitomized his season really, because he was doing everything right. He was getting all the right positions. He was a total menace. It was one of his best games in a while, I think, the Liverpool game. But at the same time, he didn't get a goal when he should have. But yeah, he's had a kind of feels like a bad season, but his numbers have still been pretty top.
I think it's
If
just
he
kind of
kicks
like
on,
Grealish's first season at Man City. People have kind of mischaracterized
yeah,
what
yeah,
he's
yeah,
actually supposed to be doing.
yeah,
People have seen him come in and play in that forward line and thought, well, he's a striker, he's a goal scorer then. But he really isn't. He's been brought in as a facilitator, a creative forward. His goals will come. Obviously, we've talked about his low confidence, and he's got the positions to score goals. I don't know what his total XG is, but it's definitely not low. He's been getting in good positions. So when that finishing does come, like kind of like Bailey had a similar situation, when that confidence comes and that finishing comes, his numbers will probably take another sort of couple steps up in the goal department. And
yeah,
he's
definitely.
already banging it out from a creative perspective, which it just takes time for those numbers to kind of level out. Um, So I mean, even for forwards, he's 0.54 xG and assists per 90. So that's non-penalty as well. Well, he hasn't even taken penalties. But for a first season in the Prem, when it's not even technically a league that necessarily suits his kind of figure and play style, is pretty good, pretty damn good, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's a new league and stuff as well. Yeah, for a first season in the Prem, I mean, how often do you see, especially winger type players, come into the Prem and completely flop, especially in their first year, because there is a different play style and it takes a while to get used to. Um, so yeah, exciting stuff to come from Diaby. It does feel like a slightly disappointing season, but at the same time, the fact that he's done so well in a disappointing season is very encouraging.
Yeah, let's
Um,
quickly do our actual Palace Villa prediction, and then we'll keep talking about Villa because we keep delaying and delaying.
yeah, which is
Um,
probably the elephant in the room.
it's probably only Palace and Villa
Yeah,
fans left.
I think I'm going to go for the Villa win because I think I mean, neither team has anything to play for now. And it's Palace's last home game, they're in good form, but I think Watkins has still got a lot to play for. He'll want the 20th goal. He's definitely going to score. And I think we still haven't had that big celebratory win. We had it against Liverpool, all the videos coming out of the awards night of the team celebrating the Spurs result and stuff. We've had the big celebration there, but we still haven't had that big final win where it's all come together. And I think with the pressure off and a week's rest, I think we'll perform well. I think we'll be back to our best. Hopefully, I mean that's wishful thinking, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go for 4-1 big Villa win.
Whew. Do you recognise this moment? Abdavila!
Oh yes, mate! I love that so much.
Yeah.
I fucking love that shit.
Do you know, I'll take that. That's a pretty good impression, I reckon.
Yeah, not bad. Then.
But yeah. Anyway, 4-1. Jesus.
Well, got to get the bonus point in. I do think we'll score a few goals. I think we'll. Early in the season, we had a kind of freedom about us where there was no expectation on us, and we were just doing our thing. And then we got more pragmatic in the way we played because suddenly we were like in the top four and stuff. But I think we're going to see. When we beat Brighton at home, what was it? 6-1 or something. And that was early on in the season. No pressure on us at that point. I think we'll see a similar thing where we'll just be free flowing. I think.
Fair, fair.
Uh, yeah,
I don't know about that so much. But I
it
do
is
think we can
thinking.
pull off a win. But it's going to be a high-scoring win on both sides. I think, if whatever way it goes. I don't want to go for a Desmond, so I'm going to go for a 3-2 Villa win.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, what I am completely brushing over is the fact that our defence is a complete shambles at the minute.
And we're probably going to be pretty leggy, even though we have had like over a week
Yeah,
break for the first time.
yeah, yeah. I don't know about what do you think the team's going to look like? Do you think there's going to be like obviously we've got the opportunity now to play a few players who haven't had as many minutes and stuff.
Yeah, I think we
Or,
could see a couple of rotations. The rotations I think I'd like to see is perhaps I don't know about Duran, maybe Duran. I definitely
I
think
think Duran
Scoreline
maybe
play.
deserves it after that Liverpool game. To be fair,
Yeah, he might deserve a chance to just add a couple to his goal tally. I think Moreno will start. Then we might see Longley play.
mm.
Might see Chambers play, and then
Oh,
Casper.
Chambers against Liverpool.
I think Bailey might get a rest, to be honest.
Yeah, Bailey kind of needs it. He's one of them who's clearly been playing through an injury or something.
Yeah, just way too much.
Yeah,
He looks so leggy in almost every game because he's just
yeah,
the onus is on him to create stuff a lot of the time in the final third throughout the game. So because he's that something magic, you know. I mean, like Watkins can do bits and bobs too, but Bailey is that guy that every time he's on the ball in the attacking third, you kind of get up off your seat because you're ready.
yeah.
He's something special.
He's probably got the most potential out of anyone in the squad to make something out of nothing.
Mm,
That kind of X factor thing that players have, where if the team's not playing well, there are certain players who they get the ball and you still think there's a possibility that something could happen. Bailey's definitely got that because as much as Watkins is brilliant and stuff, Watkins kind of needs the opportunity to be given to him to some extent. But Bailey can pick it up on the halfway line and he can make something happen.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I think he'll get a rest.
if he can achieve any sort of similar level progression as he has done from last season to this season, what a player he's going to be. Because I mean, what he's already roundabouts. Is he matching the output of Saka this season or beating it possibly?
Not close to be fair. Be similar. Bailey's numbers on FB Ref are mental. Fair play.
I haven't even looked. I'm going to have a quick look on FOTMob.
Yeah, 99th percentile for expected assists.
Yeah, he's just so magic at the moment. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're talking about Bania. It's like, do we need Bania? Well, yes, we do need Bania, but it's because Bailey's basically doing everything for it
Yeah.
from a creator. 35 million market value. Are you nuts?
Yeah, I think Duran deserves a start because he saved us against Liverpool.
I mean, 30
I think
million
Chambers would be
goal
nice to play
involvement.
because
Pretty damn
Chambers
good.
did really well against Liverpool.
I think he might want the chance maybe to get a start, not start, yeah, to get a start to reach 20 goal involvements, Leon Bailey. But I'm sure he could do that off the bench. He's that good.
What's he on now? Like 19.
Um, 19 goal involvements. Yeah, I think he's got 10 goals, 9 assists in the league. And if you look at the Premier League tallies, 9 assists puts you third, 10 assists puts you second, 11 puts you second outright to Watkins. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's just been special, hasn't he? And I mean, 10 goals for a wing is about what you want, unless they're going to be like a world class
Yeah, unless
centre
it's
winger.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, hold your horses a bit there. He was a different beast to the normal world class winger. I'm talking more like I don't know, like an Iron Robin might get like 15 goals in the league every year and like 10 plus assists as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your world class wingers sit at around 20 to 30 goal involvements in the league every year, whereas your world class forwards tend to hit more sort of 30 to 40. technically makes Watkins world class. I mean, you could probably argue that, to be fair, at this point.
I think so. I think you'd probably need a bit more consistency because it's only been one season where he's hit those numbers, but it's also only been one season that he's been in a sort of top 4 team. But definitely an argument for it. If he has another 2-3 seasons at the numbers, like he'll be well in that bracket, definitely.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Bailey's numbers. I mean, if you call him a midfielder, which you probably really shouldn't.
Yeah, put him on winger, definitely.
It goes absolutely wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, attacking midfielders versus wingers. Non-penalty goals, non-penalty XG is decent. Assists is way up there. Expected assists, just mad. Like he's so good, so good, and he wins a lot of aerials as well. So
Yeah,
in that sense. To be fair,
he's quite a complete player actually.
Sorry.
He's quite a complete player. Like his development has been so impressive because he's gone from a player who was kind of erratic going forward and then wouldn't do the defensive work to someone who now literally does everything on that right hand side. He defends well. He can be an outlet in terms of aerial balls, and then obviously in attack, goes without saying. But yeah, he's like not just a kind of tricky winger at this point. He kind of does it defensively. He does it in midfield.
He doesn't necessarily do it defensively in the sense that he's a good defensive player. I think he just puts in the work.
Yeah, he just fulfills his responsibility. It's kind of the main thing Emery wants, isn't it? Like it's what everyone was talking about with the Duran thing, and everyone's saying that he's not tactically there yet because he's not doing the kind of dirty work, or he hasn't got the intelligence on the pitch in terms of his positioning and stuff. But Bailey's absolutely nailed that.
So yeah, we pretty much discussed everything we wanted to. Do we want to predict the European finals?
Can do. How long have we got until then? Because we could do another episode where we do final league table kind of thing.
Well, seeing as we're doing predictions, it feels.
Yeah, fair. Right. So, what are the finals?
Wait, hang on.
Just get them up.
Oh, that's the Premier League 2 semi-finals. Like Reading aren't in the playoffs. Right. So Europa League final is next Wednesday. Atalanta versus Leverkusen.
Well, can't look past Leverkusen, can you? I mean, they've not lost a game.
They might be able to. They've really kind of been a bit more inconsistent towards the end of the season.
Yeah, but they've still not lost a game, mate.
They haven't. But you don't have to lose a game in the final, remember?
They're not going to lose a game in the final.
Yeah. Because they might lose on penalties, which doesn't count as the game, remember?
No chance.
I think it's way more tough to call than just not looking past Leverkusen.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a European final. It's never going to be simple, but I don't know enough about Atalanta really to go into it. But one of those teams is like one of the best teams in Europe right now. And another one of those teams is obviously a good team, but they're 5th in their league. Yeah, they've got to Europa League final, but Leverkusen they're unreal.
You're not wrong. You are convincing me to err on that side of it.
They're unreal. I think you're right. Whereas it's not going to be simple. I think that there is more than just straight easy Leverkusen win, but they are unreal. Like, yeah, they're mad. They're mad.
Maybe I'll go
0 losses.
Do you know what? 2-1 extra time. Leverkusen.
All right, I like that. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I mean, finals are always like that, aren't they? They do quite often go to extra time. The thing with Leverkusen is they've had a lot of late goals, a lot of injury time goals that have saved their unbeaten run, kind of thing. Whereas in a final, it's not quite as pressing to get the late goal in the 90 minutes because in your mind, back of your mind, mentally, the extra time factor has an effect. If you're drawing, it's not quite as pressing to go for the win. So,
although the mental game is a big big thing in a final. Like if your game state matters a lot, if you go 1-0 down in the first half and you don't get control of those next 5-10 minutes, you could spend the rest of the game on the back foot,
Yeah.
just mentally. So it's really on a knife edge. We've seen Atalanta cause an upset against Liverpool. There's no reason they can't
Mm.
cause an upset against Leverkusen. It would have been really interesting to see a Liverpool Leverkusen final, but unfortunately, that wasn't to be. So, you know, it really could be any kind of result here.
It's
But
interesting. I'm looking at Leverkusen's results, and they've had quite a few draws recently,
mm,
and they've also had quite a few 5-0 wins recently. Like they're kind of either blowing teams away, or they're maybe getting a draw or scraping a 2-1 win or something. So I think maybe the 2-1 extra time could be a good shout. I could see it going to extra time. I might go maybe 3-1 extra time. Um,
interesting,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
All right, good stuff. Who's next? Must be a couple days later. When's the Conference League
It'll
final?
be
Oh,
conference.
well, we've got FA Cup final as well, actually. Um,
Oh yeah, shit.
City United, 3 p.m. on a Saturday, May
That's another thing.
22nd.
Does that change United's managerial situation if they win the FA Cup? Obviously, that's a big call. They probably won't. But suddenly it doesn't look like such an awful season if they win an FA Cup. Um,
I mean, yeah, but I just don't see them doing it. Like,
no, that's the thing.
City are just too good.
Yeah,
I think it'll be close. Probably end up being like 2-1,
you
maybe two
reckon?
0 City, something like that. Yeah, that's what I think I'll do. 2-0 City. I think they'll just try and absolutely starve United of the ball
Mm,
and just clinch a couple of
I could kind of see, for
customary
all I've been
points.
saying, or for all I've been defending Ten Hag, I can kind of see United getting blown away. To be honest.
Oh, but we say that about United, but the only time they exceed expectations is against Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man
Yeah,
United. It's the
yeah,
only time against other teams that play in red, you know, and
yeah.
occasionally City.
I
Um,
don't know why that is. I suppose they do have quite a lot of experience in the team. I don't know how much of a factor that
I think it's
necessarily is.
a bit like Chelsea. I think they have this kind of toxic top six mindset where it's like no one else really matters. We can just kind of cruise against everyone else. But they're just
Yeah,
not good enough to do that anymore. So now
yeah,
when they play the other big teams, they kind of kick into gear a bit more and they play a little bit better. Um, but realistically, it's just not going to happen.
yeah. I'm gonna go for a 4-0 City win. To be honest,
Fair. I'm sticking to the 2-0. I just don't think
that's
United
my
will score.
instinct. I think you're right about their mentality and how they will probably show up. I think it probably will be closer than that, but I'm just gonna stick with it. That was my initial instinct with City. We're just gonna blow them away. It's gonna be one of them really boring, forgettable finals where it's just a easy win for the one team.
Do you know what's embarrassing? The Serie A finishes on May 26th, whereas ours finishes in what, like 3 days. The
Hmm.
amount of extra rest they get, and like
I know it's
we
ridiculous,
just
man.
don't do it for no reason.
It's like when we were playing Olympiacos, and Olympiacos didn't have a fixture on the weekend because the league just said, "Yeah, you've got a European fixture, so we'll just move the fixtures about." It's like that just does not happen in the Premier League.
Yeah, would never happen.
So ridiculous.
But there you go. Olympiacos versus Fiorentina, Conference League final, May 29th, 8 p.m. What's going to happen?
Well, I'm going to go for the Olympiacos win. To be honest,
Mm,
I'm going to be gunning for him because I think, as much as it was irritating to see him beat us, the way they did it was kind of admirable. Like they were just so good. They had the game plan down. They knew where our weaknesses were. That striker El Kabi was just insane. Uh, yeah, they look like a good team. I haven't really watched Fiorentina, so I can't really say. But
well,
from what I've
they've
seen,
lost.
they look
So
like
the
a good team.
last five fixtures, team form, we've got Olympiacos won 4-1 at home in the league, while Fiorentina won 5-1. Olympiacos then beat us 4-2 away, while Fiorentina beat Club Brugge 3-2 at home. Olympiacos then beat us 2-0 at home, but Fiorentina lost 2-1 away in the league. Then Olympiacos lost 2-0 away in the league to Panathinaikos. Or was that AOK? No, I think it's Panathinaikos. And then Fiorentina went and drew away at Club Brugge. And then they both won their last home league fixture that they've just played. So, looking at it, Olympiacos do look like they have the better defensive side. Um, and to be honest, I think they have also scored more goals. So we could probably err on their side, to be fair, just based off form. Fiorentina will have the teeth. Was it the teeth on the bit or something to revenge their loss in the final last year?
Yeah, and they've got probably a bit more experience at that level, just based off the fact that they were in it last year.
Yeah, I mean the odds are in favour of Fiorentina, but
yeah, sure.
I don't think that says too much.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for. I think I'll go like 2-1 Olympiacos, tight game. But I don't know. Yeah, from what I've seen of them, it seemed a good team,
Yeah,
and I'd like to do it because they were quite a likable team in the way that they kind of went about battering us.
yeah. There was an element of Vinicius Junior about El Kabi, you know.
Why? What makes you say that? Like,
Him showing up in the big games like it's nothing.
yeah, yeah,
Just doing
yeah.
what needs to be done.
Like antagonist kind of character.
Yeah. So yeah, no, fair. I think they'll do it in normal time. I think they could win it 2-1, 3-1 in normal time.
Yeah, I think. I think 2-1 normal time. I'm going.
I think Fiorentina will have more than that. So I think 3-2 Olympiacos. I'll go.
High scoring for a final.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at their games and they are high scoring. So, and
Fair.
I don't doubt it.
And then Champions League final.
It's in Athens, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, it's in Greece, so support will be mad for Olympiacos.
It's at the OPAP Arena. And Olympiacos play. Okay, they don't play at that arena. Right, okay. So it's not that one-sided.
No, it's not their home stadium, but yeah.
Let's see, whose stadium is it?
It's probably like a national one. It'd be like Wembley or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but sometimes they the OPAP Stadium. Oh, it's AEK Stadium
Oh shit!
in Athens.
Rivals.
Are they rivals? Oh wait,
Olympiacos are they an Athens team?
wait. The Aegeus Sophia Stadium, for sponsorship reasons, is the home stadium of Olympiacos.
What? For sponsorship? What does that mean?
Wait, so does Olympiacos play in this stadium?
I'm pretty sure they don't.
Apparently they do. Wait, well, let's have a look. And the game they played at home against us, what stadium was that in? It says Stadio Georgios Pelozitsky or something.
Pronunciation on point.
Well, I'm never going to be the best. Is that in Athens? Yeah, it is in Athens, to be fair, either way. So they are literally in their home city.
Yeah.
And based on that Google search, they may even sometimes play in that stadium. So, yeah, no, it's definitely one for them to lose.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thrilling.
You got to love a kind of home final, like just for the fans and like for the city.
Yeah, especially if they win it, it's going to be an
If they
absolute.
won that, it'd be buzzing. Yeah.
Maybe I need to go on holiday to Greece. Oh wait,
Yeah.
one of my colleagues is actually going on holiday to Greece soon. Next week, she's going for a week.
Oh, bloody be there.
Is she going to be there? No, she's not going to be there. Starting, was it 17th, 18th? Starting 20th, so up to the 27th, and it's on the 29th. Yeah. There you go. Right, let's look forward to the Champions League final. Dortmund versus Real Madrid. Who would have thought that
Yeah,
at
pretty
Wembley?
crazy. Pretty crazy.
At Wembley. What? What is going on? Um, how do you call this? Because Dortmund have thrashed Real Madrid in the recent past, a couple of times. Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
I
It's
think they've been 4-1. Oh, that was 2013. What am I? Jesus. How far back does my brain go? To be fair,
well, in my mind,
2013.
Dortmund are still that team. Like that team was quite iconic. I feel that Dortmund team, like quite memorable. That period when they were playing really well, and in my mind, they are still kind of that team. Which in reality, they're not. Um, but they've obviously got kind of prestige. I mean, I feel like that's kind of what's carried them. Is that I saw people saying that if Dortmund can get to the Champions League final, then Villa can next year because Dortmund are fifth in their league or whatever. And part of me thinks maybe on the merit of the teams themselves in terms of how well they play, maybe you never know. But I feel like Dortmund have got that kind of experience. The fans have got that expectation. I feel like if Villa got into those stages of the Champions League, Villa Park would be the nerviest place on planet Earth.
It would also be the
Uh,
loudest. I swear we have the loudest fans in the league.
oh yeah, no, it would be insane. Yeah, when Villa Park's rocking, it would be insane. But as soon as that first goal went in for whoever, not Villa, like Villa just we don't have that recent history of being up there.
Yeah,
We don't have
we get a
that
bit nervous.
confidence. Yeah, we get nervous basically. Whereas Dortmund, I think they don't have it based on the fact that they've kind of in the fairly recent past in the Champions League they've had a decent amount of success. So yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm thinking has carried them to the final really because on the merit of how good of a team they are,
Mm.
I don't know how the fuck they've done it. But then that makes the final interesting because you think it's a final. They obviously they can beat Real Madrid over 90 minutes. Um,
I don't
but
think they
it's Real
do.
Madrid. It's Real Madrid, man.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Nah.
They've just looked really kind of. They haven't looked as dangerous as previous years, Real Madrid, but they've looked more tactically kind of adept. You know, they've looked like they've got more ideas of how to approach a
Yeah,
game.
they've not been winging it as much as it feels like they have been in the last couple of years.
Mm. But I mean,
Um,
they're still very much like that kind of big players, big moments type team. So it's one of them. They're going to win another one, and no one's going to be surprised. And it's probably not going to be that convincing. It'll probably be like 2-1, and everyone will sort of forget this final even happened in a few years. But it's
really. I think it'll be a good one because I think Dortmund will be like plucky because they don't have the expectation on them because obviously they're heavy underdogs for it.
mm,
Um, and I think they'll go for it. That's kind of been how they've been winning these games. Is that they've just been kind of confident in the attack. They've been backing themselves. They've not been playing on the back foot or trying to defend. They've just been saying, you know what, the only way we're going to get through these fixtures is if we score goals. And I think they'll do the same thing. And I think Madrid, for as much as they look tactically more on it, they still don't look sort of solid. They also rely on their attack really to pull up through. So I reckon I see a few goals. I see maybe 3-2 Real Madrid or something. I see Dortmund being well in the game, but Real Madrid getting through on the fucking Real Madrid factor, whatever magic they've got that means that they just win European games.
no,
But
fair
I
enough.
reckon it'll be a good final. I reckon it'll be like a proper one to remember. I'll go 3-2 Real Madrid.
No, I'm going 2-1. I think it'll just be one of those that kind of like the ones where Real Madrid won like 3 or 4 in a row. I've just kind of forgotten.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah,
the, the
yeah.
the one that started it was the 2-1 or 3-1 against Atletico in like 2014,
Oh
15 or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
And then after that, I just kind of forget who they played. Like I know they played Liverpool in at least one final, but I can't even remember like what the score was.
Yeah.
You
No,
know. So yeah, I think it'll be a little bit like one of those. Um, yeah. Well, there we go then. I think we've we've covered it really. Do we?
I covered a lot of shit. That was a long one.
I'm not predicting the Euros. Fuck that. Let's have a little word for Morgan Rogers. What a player he's been coming in.
Oh, man. Yeah, insane.
I
Yeah.
just he's watching him glide past people. It's just like, who are you? Where have you come from?
It is mad. You watch him and you think, like, why was he ever in the Championship a few months ago?
I think we've upped his game very very quickly though, because I think that's what Unai's done. He's identified the ability and the talent, and then he's just given him the instructions and gone, "This is how you become the player you're supposed to be."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's done that with our whole team, hasn't he, really? I think that's probably, part of the reason he took the job on. And part of the reason we're in the position we are now is because uh, while we'd had sort of managerial changes, the squad building was consistent. We were still signing good players with potential. And Emery came in, he saw that there's a lot of players here underperforming. And, Leon Bailey and John McGinn, fans were ready to see them leave the next summer. We were like, these players are just not it anymore. If we want to be in the top 6, 7, whatever, these players are not good enough. And Emery's come in and he said, yes, you are good enough. You just need to be playing in this position, in this role. And that's his best trait as a manager, as far as I can tell, is getting players to play in their proper positions and roles that get the most out of them. And Rodgers, he obviously saw the talent and he's just been mental.
Yeah, and I mean, even the management style of being like, you're still a Championship player, because like he would have been,
Yeah, I love
bringing
that.
him in, he would have had to really convince him and make him feel like he was going to play and he's got the talent and he believes in him. But then for him to get there and then immediately just start telling him, actually, no, you're not good enough. Bit of mind
Yeah.
games.
I think that's probably credit to Rodgers as well, because a lot of young players don't get a sniff with Emery if they're not getting it tactically what he wants. Like we were saying earlier, he's got these standards and he's got these demands, and players have to meet him. And Rodgers, there's a lot of players in the team who are a similar age, but they're not getting a sniff. But Rodgers has clearly taken everything on board and just soaked it all up.
Yeah, he looks better than Ramsey has done this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, arguably, he does look better than Ramsey. But he's only
a little bit unfair to Ramsey, because Ramsey looked great at the end of last year, and he has had a lot of injuries this year. Right.
It is, yeah. I think I wouldn't say he does look better than Ramsey, but he definitely looks at a comparable kind of level. Where when Ramsey was on a good run of form, like towards the end of last season, Rodgers is definitely looking at that level. I think he's harsh on Ramsey. Like, he's had injuries and stuff. He's had his issues. But
I think Ramsey. I think I don't want to criticize Unai Emery's judgment here, but I think playing Ramsey out left does underutilize him. He would be far better in a number 10 or advanced number 8 role. It does suit it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really say, because I guess we've never seen him play there. Going off like his attributes, I could definitely see him in that role. I would like to see him in that role, for sure. Maybe with Rodgers now, there'll be more opportunity for Ramsey. You never know.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, or even in a false 9, because he's got that finishing ability. We know that.
I think behind the striker, Ramsey would be brilliant, because he's got the dribbling, he's got the power to kind of make those runs forward, and his finishing is like maybe his best attribute.
Yeah,
so
do it for England under 21s. He's ran that team before as the number 10.
I'd love to see him there. Yeah. Shadow striker.
I mean, mate, honestly, it would be brilliant. I'd love it.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see him come back and achieve the things we know he's capable of, and if he could do that alongside the likes of
Hopefully puts that injury thing behind him, because it's a bit of a bummer. With how good the season's been, that is a bit of a bummer, Ramsey's injury problems. But
if you think about it, I don't know if Buendia is going to stay, right? But if Buendia is back, right, and we've got Morgan Rogers, we've got Leon Bailey and Moussa Diaby firing, it would probably bring in another striker, giving Moussa Diaby more freedom as well. If we bring in another midfield player, that's more rotation. That provides a lot of support for Ramsey to just get back to his best before we force him back into the team.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. There won't be pressure on him now to perform. He can be eased back in. Don't have to rush him back with his injury or whatever. He can be eased back in. He'll have good players around him. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
But
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think let's start wrapping it up. We definitely want to start doing frequent transfer reviews because we can literally, if we see we're heavily linked to a player, especially like we've seen Carlos Soler, we've seen players like Elise. I don't know how strong those are. I don't know if Romano's touched on that or anything, but if we see these strong rumours, we can come on and do like a 15 to 30-minute episode where we delve into where is this player going to fit into the side,
Yeah, definitely.
what are their strengths, who could they fill in for, who might they replace, how much are they going to cost, is it going to be realistic, all these different things. So we can delve into that, and that's going to be a really good, nice little thing to keep us going for summer. I think we do a summer Aston Villa summer, not rebuild, but like spending plan. You know how we did last year. We did like a little summer build
Yeah,
thing. I actually went and created the side on FIFA and was like, mate, this is such a good team.
yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty cool to go and do that and actually bring our sort of ideas to life in a way. And but and we'll have a big budget as well this summer, I believe. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, let's do a little outro. I think as I did the intro, it's time for you, Matt. Stand up,
Up
give
to
the
the play.
guys.
What we called again? What's the podcast called again?
What do you mean? What are we called again?
FB Football Bollocks. Is that the one?
I can't believe you've actually forgotten the name of your own podcast.
I actually don't Footbollocks FB. I don't know. It's confusing, man.
It's Footbollocks, shortened to FB.
FB. I'm gonna go with FB because I don't want to keep saying
Podcast or the
bollocks.
Footbollocks show. I don't know.
Right. That was the final FB podcast. Predictions for the season. I've got about I've got exactly 9 points to make up. So let's hope all of my results come in and none of yours. Also got predictions in for the all the finals. So we'll be reviewing all that and reviewing the Premier League table shortly, I imagine. So yeah, that was that.
Yeah, I think we do a season review after the Champions League final.
Yeah, I think so. After all the finals are done, we can do the league and do the review of all the finals and stuff.
Yeah, and I think we could do like a little tier list or like a score for all the teams in the league of how well they've performed.
Yeah, well, we can get our predicted league tables and yeah, see how teams performed relative to expectation and stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. All right. Absolutely. Well, we'll
That
leave
is
it
that.
there. Au revoir. Goodbye.
That is that.